What's going on, Josh? This is video presentation number 3, and this time you want us to focus on either post-productions, camera work, sound productions, or a combination of all three. During this time, I've decided I wanted to focus more on the post-production side. However, I did want to work on my camera skills, so I've managed to combine a bit of camera work with post-production. To start this off, I decided I'm going to talk about the camera stuff and the camera work I've done, playing with lighting and harsh shadows. My examples of this are two bands, one called Fame on Fire doing a cover to Lucid Dreams, and another band called Captors with their song called Signs. These two play a lot with hard lighting, backlighting, Rembrandt lighting, and a lot of harsh shadows. As I'm not the best when it comes to lighting, I got a lot of help from my friends Ian and Giorgio, and they helped me recreate this type of lighting and setup in which I learned how to do hard lighting, backlighting, bit of Rembrandt lighting, and also things involved such as diffusion and bounce to get that slight light on someone's face or from an angle. As you can see now, Josh, I've switched screens onto my laptop screen so you can see in Premiere Pro these are all the clips I've taken from the lighting. Starting with the backlighting, this is where I said these two clips here either have diffusion or a bounce on it. So the first one here has a back left bouncer and obviously a backlight on it, in which created a small shadow but still in focus enough to see. Not really dark but still quite light. As you can see here on his right side of his face, you can see a lot of light. On the left side of his face, a lot of proportion. It's in focus, but slightly darker. On this other clip here, we added diffusion, and you can see his face is starting to get really darker. So you can see the switch between without diffusion and with diffusion here. With that diffusion, as you can see on obviously the right side of his face, there still is a bit of shine, but that now is coming to focus. So you can see that the other side of his face now has become slightly darker. Still can see it, but not completely out of focus. Moving on to the Rembrandt lighting, we decided to play with just bouncers and no diffusion. So in this first one, we played with a back left bouncer again, and as you can see on his left side of his face, it's become a lot more brighter, and a small proportion of his right side of his face has become slightly darker. Still a lot obviously in focus, not completely gone, but still a start, you could say, in terms of creating a shadow. Moving on to trying to have two bouncers, we tried to move the placement of in which shadow could be on his face. This wasn't the best, but as you can see, when we took one of the bounces off, it still recreated that shadow again. So this one wasn't the best experiment, but it was a try to move the shadow on his face. Moving on to complete harsh lighting, this is with a diffusion and a bounce. The first one is with diffusion, and as you can see here, the right side of his face is really more darker and you can't really see it. And the left side of his face, you can see a lot of light. As I do a little scrub through it, you can see where the lighting is, with diffusion and without diffusion. And for this last clip, as you can see here, is adding a bouncer and without a bouncer. So if I scrub through to the final bit of the clip, this is with a bouncer and it lets in a lot of light. Without the bouncer, it'll make his face completely really dark. It will. It cuts part of his face off, so the complete right side of his face is completely darker than his left side of his face. Playing around with lighting was a real task, but at the end of it, we managed to make two good setups, and obviously the one was really experimental video, playing with the harsh shadows and that. But it's something I would like to look into and play around with it more often, you could say. Okay, enough of camera skills, now to move to the fun bits. Post-productions and visual effects. Okay, the two recent effects I've been learning about are the wiggler and tracking motion. So let's start with the wiggler animation. So in this case, I've got a file here. I haven't done nothing to it yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it and go down to this options of transform, go to position. Here he does something. Set one down, and let's say about here. We'll drop another one. I need to click on both of them or highlight both of them. Go down to wiggler, and what I've done is set to path. So that means it's going to just basically blow up on screen. It's going to go in different directions at several times. So I'm going to change the frequency to 50 and the magnitude. Oh, it's already at 60, so I'll change it to about 80, should we say, and apply. There it's create all its small little individual frames. So if I do a little scrub through for about here and play it, it should just literally just fit on the screen basically. Okay, moving on to the tracking motion effect. What I've done here, I've got two files. So as you can see,
back file is just me, a random spoof video, so ignore that. And I've chose to use a target video, as you see this file here, this small little moving animation effect. So when I hover over it, you can faintly see it move, but nothing major. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pre-comp both the files. So this one, I'm just going to call it, I'll just call it comp1, just to be simple. So in case I want to do any small visual effects, such as tinting it, moving the position, it can be all done within that small file. Again, I'm going to do the same thing for the target one as well, and I'm going to call that just target 4, and make that a new composition. I'm then going to go into the target folder, and as you can see here, can't really see, it's quite faint as an image. What I'm going to do is click on that file and duplicate it, which is Command D. As I start to duplicate it, you can see it starts to get a lot brighter, and that's what we need it to become more brighter and stand out within the other image. I come out of that, I can go into the other file, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it just over my eye. Now what I'm going to do is go back to Comp 1 and go to Track Motion. As you can see here, there's two little bits to change. You don't want to use this little cursor, which is that little small arrows. I'm going to use the main big arrows to change where it's going to be. So it's about there. I'm going to move it over my eye, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit the target with target 4, which means it's going to be linked with the layer 4, which is that small little target which is going to be surrounding basically my eye. I press OK, and I just press the playhead, and it's just tracking these small little animations that my eye does. I can stop it there and apply. The X and Y, so that means anything from moving left and right and up and down. Yes, I can do that. Apply that. So now when I do a little scrub through or play it, the little animation should track my eye basically.
Okay, like the time's been this good. I've learned a lot more, and with other students' course, I've learned more things in different areas in sound, and also in camera work, working with lighting, and also in post-production I've learned a couple new effects which I can possibly apply to things such as like music videos and maybe short films too. Things I want to learn for next year, sky replacement, and probably new realistic green screen effects as well.